Now why you wanna go and do that, huh? Now why you wanna go and do that?
Hey YouTubers, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining us again. So today, transmeri and it's tea girls, it girls, just giving you some tea and talking about generally our issues. I feel like we need more time to talk about our issues. So let's get right into it. Today we're actually going to be talking about trans violence in the streets. We're basically going to be sharing our personal experiences because they're very personal experiences that we're going to be sharing. And just generally how harassment happens. I'm going to dive right in. I mean, it just happens so often within institutions where you're supposed to find safety. I've experienced it personally in the hospital environment with the nurses. They are the most violent people ever. So having to go to endocrine, I do endocrine and firearms. So whenever I go there, I always have to withstand being called a man consistently. So this Monday, it happened this Monday actually. It's so disgusting. But next time I actually want to get really violent with her. So this Monday when I was there, she's like, no, Abuti. Imagine.
Yo, Nahana.
It was so rude.
Wow.
It was so rude. And this happens on the daily.
It does. It does.
And this is somebody who knows very well how they're supposed to address this as an endocrine person. But they do it out of power dynamics.
Yeah.
And it was so violent. So I just ignored that because I'm just like, this bitch.
You're not here for her.
This bitch is basic and I ain't got time for this. I'm just trying to get my meds.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we can't let every single thing get to us.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, I'm not gonna waste my energy on this old bitch.
Yeah.
She's stuck in her ways.
Right.
She's so stuck in her ways. I'm not gonna do that. Like, no.
Because also, like, if you're going to allow everything to, like, get to you, you're literally allowing people to consume the power that you fought so hard to access, right?
True.
The power that you fought so hard with your body to encounter, right?
Because this is like over 20 years of power garnered.
Right.
Literally, we're working in the 20s, so it's like 20 years and above of power. So we can't always give it to anyone freely like that, can we?
We can't. I always say personal is political, right? So the fact that I wake up as a black trans woman and I still go back home as a black trans woman, but even the fact that even having to leave your house wondering are you going to come back yourself or are you going to come back as a corpse, you know, those are the struggles that every black trans woman encounters every now and then, and those are the struggles that society has chosen to be ignorant and intolerant and very perpetuating of, right? So the culture of violence around trans violence, trans erasure, trans misogyny, it's all violence. It's just that it's for different strokes for different oaks or just different folks, right? So how I'm going to encounter violence is going to be as different to you because then it brings us back to where we are. So geopolitically where we are. Like take for example the Northwest Province, the Free State Province, and how so many black trans women in those mentioned areas are very disempowered, right? Are constantly disempowered, are constantly reminded of how unworthy they are, right?
Or how different they are.
Yeah.
I'm thinking particularly of this one friend of mine from the Free State who identifies as trans. They have boobies. So, you know, but because of the pervasive violence towards them, being called gay consistently, they don't even bother to, you know,
to fight it or to like groom,
you know, groom now, even though they have like their boobies now set in place, you know. I remember each time she sees me in a dress, in a skirt, she gets the shock of her life because like she knows that if she was to do that, it would shake her community. And it's like, why do you, I understand the concern of like why she gives a fuck because like the vitriol, I experienced it in the urban area, Joburg CBD. Literally, I still experience that. In the north as well. It's not just limited to those, but it's worse there in rural communities.
It's
so,
rife, truly.
It's rife.
People don't have the privilege, people don't have resources, people don't have the power. Because even you must also remember that being in a rural space, I mean black girls like ours who come from rural spaces, but somehow have taken upon themselves to survive way beyond their geographics, right? We also need to also speak about how privilege is a thing, right? And maybe acknowledging the little privilege that we have, and maybe because even how we left our native towns was not the most beautiful thing ever, because some of us we left running, some of us we had to fight for our lives to exit that space because that space was extremely violent towards us, right? So it's not every black trans woman that has the privilege. Privilege, you find it a lot in spaces like urbanized spaces where you find that, you know, there's this dynamic white trans woman versus black trans woman.
What is that
And
dynamic
how-
actually?
Yeah, I mean,
What do you think white women, trans white women particularly, have access to that black trans women in the country don't have access
I mean,
to?
just you being white and just, you know, systematically and democratically, just you being white.
So it's financial, it's economic.
Yeah, but also just being white asserts you privileges. So it's socio-economic, it's political. The space is very accessible to you because I mean, even how the system or even how the country is constructed, right? It's constructed from a very racial perspective. So the first thing that you have seen, or the first time you are recognized, is from a racial perspective, right? It is not from an intersectional perspective. So hence, white trans women, because they have the resources, they have the capabilities, they have the language to, whenever they need any form of assistance, they can shout, right? As opposed to me, who don't have a proper understanding, who don't know, or is not even quite familiar with the channels and how to go about accessing healthcare, right?
And that is a form of violence, the fact
It is.
that trans women, young growing trans women who haven't even noticed because they don't have models to model themselves after,
Yeah.
to actually be able to recognize themselves after, that is the violence
It's
that is
very bad,
circulated.
yeah.
Because it happened with me, where I feel like if very early on I was exposed to trans women who were really living their best lives, I would have lived my best life from a very young age. So it's amazing. Some people have beautiful stories of like them just being all about it, since radical, since I'm gonna wear this.
I've been
I'm
fucking shit up.
I'm not listening to nothing. I'm not listening to what you're telling me. That a gender is not mine. I'm gonna live
My life.
my life.
And my life in totality, and I shall not be governed by patriarchy. I should not be governed by heteronormativity. I should not be governed by toxic masculinity. I should not be governed by any form of violence that is being perpetuated onto my body. And I think also that comes with a form of resistance. You know, the fact that we don't know where the resistance comes from, but it's internal. It's internal power. You know, it's a power that you can't just tap into. It's a power that needs practice. It's a power that needs meditation. It's a power that needs to be, you know, a manifestation. You know, you need to breathe. You need to become that power. And it's not everyone that is intact with that side today, because we go through so much shit daily that we forget to live. We forget to breathe. We forget to eat. We forget to take our HRTs. We forget to even just be, to become ourselves, right? Because society is so policing, society is so moralistic, you know, patriarchy is so policing, and then we still have, you know, men that still refer us to man, right? Even though you're like, bitch, I'm not a man, there's nothing manly about me. I've never ever enjoyed the privileges of a male. You know,
That's so true.
I've never had to not worry about navigating or negotiating my space in the streets of Braamfontein, in the streets of Swaziland, in the streets of Valcon, right? So even that, even having to even just worry about that, you know, how you navigate, how you negotiate this space is dangerous.
So what's the most violent thing that you've experienced? Because I have experienced the most violent I've experienced was rape. That was like hectic. But I'm here thriving, living my best life, even with the traumas that I've gone through, because you don't really heal.
You never
heal.
You never heal.
But you do learn to still exist with your traumas and go about them in their power, because they can be very overpowering. Some people have had to end their lives because of the challenge, the power that happens once you've been violated, your body has been violated. What was your story of violation?
So I was home for recess. It was in September. And my niece was very vomitory. She was sick. She was like, her condition was deteriorating. We were like worried as a family, like how can we best show up for her? Then we decided to take her to the local clinic, right, where we were met by a male nurse, and we had to like wait for over 7 hours for her to be like serviced, you know. So as we were like waiting, we started inquiring, but what's prolonging the process? You know, why are we like waiting for this long? There are times there are people who are like sick, right? Way sicker than my niece, right? So this nurse refused to help us, like literally refused to help us because I was there, you know, because he started becoming very violent when my sister walked inside the consultation room with my niece, and he was like, you know, who the fuck do we think we are? Because we went to the HOD's house to go report. So whilst we were in the clinic, we decided to go to her house to go report so that she could intervene. Because no one was doing anything. People were just passing, nurses were just passing, and they didn't even give a fuck about the patients, right? And I was just like, what's going on? And then we decided to go to the head of department's house to report, and it was when then she called the clinic to have them like attend to us because the child's condition was deteriorating, as already mentioned. So when we got back to the clinic, we were met with this male nurse, who further, when my sister walked inside the room, was like, who the fuck do you think you are?
Wow.
Who the fuck do you think you are? And then my sister's response was, a member of society who's applicable to be rendered healthcare services, right? This is when I stepped in. I was just like, but we're not here for this. And it was when that man was like, when I give you know, when meaning that you fucking gay, I'm going to get you back at the time.
Subtitles, I'll do subtitles, don't you translate.
Okay, great. So like it was more like right after that incident happened, because this was like a verbal warning. It was a verbal threat, but because already my mind was preoccupied, I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think that this man will come back to like become physical with me. Because you know, when something happens to you in the spur of the moment, the first thing that you prioritize is yourself and your family, right? So we went back home, and then I came back for the weekend during the November recess. I went back home. I was coming back from my friend's place. I was carrying, you know, my nails because I asked her to give me nails.
Repeat that.
So I was coming back from my friend's place. I went to go fetch my nails. So as I was passing, as I was going back from her house to my house, there's a national road that you first have to pass, and then there's a railway. So I first passed the road, but I saw a red car. So as I was passing, a red car passed me, but I didn't take recognition of that car because I don't know that car. So it U-turned, and I was already on the other side, now approaching the railway. So as I was approaching the railway, this car drives slowly behind me, starts driving very slowly behind me. And then I did not know, because this car had like dark windows, and it's a red Polo. I'm not familiar with this person's car. Only to find out that it was this guy. It was this male nurse. It was this male nurse that actually. So he was the one that. So as I was walking.
What happened then?
So I had my headsets on. I was listening to music. I was really happy. I was at a happy space.
Yeah.
I was unbothered. And then this guy comes out of nowhere.
That's even 10 times traumatic.
Yeah, it is traumatic because I was not prepared at all. So mentally, my mental health was like just like all over the place, right?
So you crossed the road.
I crossed the road, the railway, and then walks out this guy, gets out of his car, and as he gets out of his car, he's like, "When I'm keeping, when right?" So as I was like, and I'm like, obviously I'm speechless. I don't know what to do because now I'm wondering, what am I supposed to do in this regard? Where do I navigate? How do I like negotiate with this man not to harm me at all, right? And immediately when I started speaking,
Did he?
bam, punch.
Like, this is in front of people.
This is in front of people. This is like next to a national road. This is where all the cars passes.
What
is
time
where
is this?
11:45
Oh my
during the
God.
day. Because I left my house around 11:10, and then when I came back, because I know I didn't spend a lot of time, I probably spent like over 30 minutes at my friend's place. So to walk from my friend's house, it's 5 minutes walk. So he saw me passing. Like, he saw me passing.
And he followed you.
And he followed me.
So he was a predator, basically.
Exactly.
Inflicting harm.
Inflicting harm, and with intentions to like do grievous bodily harm.
Damage.
So he got to me, started punching me, and I'm just like, what's going on? For the first 15 seconds, I was like, my mind was blocked.
So did you report this, or what?
I tried to report it, and
what
so
happened?
so when I tried to report it, my case was so when I got, because I was the first to arrive at the police station back at home in Swaza, Reneka. So when I got there, I was met with the officer in charge, and I was like, officer, I need to open.
Were
my
they
case.
even helpful? Because they are usually the most problematic, especially.
They were not helpful.
They just generally like
They're
that, even
fucky
to
as
cis
fuck.
women. So I can imagine against like
A trans woman, right? It's even problematic. It's even further violence that has been perpetuated onto your body. So I report my case. I open a statement. I write a statement. I open a case, and then my case is categorized as common assault, right? And then this guy comes up to me, opens a case against me. Yet he's the one that attacked me from the streets. Opens a case against me, and his case is categorized as GBH, grievous bodily harm. Bear in mind, I'm the one that encountered lots and lots of injuries, right? So I'm just like baffled. I'm just like, what's happening? Right as this fight is like going on, as this man is like attacking me, is fighting me with his power. I'm disempowered. I don't know what to do. All I'm seeing is black. Because punches are coming left, right, and center. Punches are coming left, right, and center. So when I get to the police station, I find my case. The investigating officer that I was assigned to was problematic.
what happened?
He did not want to understand. He was not understanding. He was not for me. He was not.
And that's
for
many
me.
women's experiences
Yeah.
in South Africa.
The fact that even
They questioned, like, what did you do? Is that what happened to you?
that is what happened. But even the fact that I was being questioned by a man, right? Like, what does it mean to be for my case to be investigated by a patriarchal, transphobic, extremely violent man, right? Who's quite aware of his masculine power. Am I safe? Am I even safe to talk to him and tell him that I was violated in this form, right? And do I then expect him to take me serious? Hell no, right? Because at the end of the day, men look out for men. Right?
That's so true.
Men look out for men.
Men cover for men.
Men cover
That's
for
why
men.
you have such a high number of rape culture in South Africa, because no man, that's what they say on Twitter, no man ever knows any other man who's raped.
Yeah.
But we all know a girl who's raped.
Yeah.
So that speaks for itself. So did you ever actually contest this in court? Or
I tried. I mean, the fact that the investigating officer did not even give a fuck about me, the fact that the investigating officer was transphobic from the onset, the fact that he disregarded my case as less important, because immediately when someone's case is common assault and yours is GBH, then it clearly means that the dynamics shift. Then your case is more prioritized over mine, right? Because this is common assault. Grievous bodily harm involves blood, involves killings, it involves blah, 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 right?
that is institutionalized
Right,
violence.
there's institutionalized violence, and now there is the violence that was being perpetuated onto my body continuously, right? And now I have to now fight this man, and now I have to fight the investigating officer who does not take me serious. So I actually felt that this man was in conversation, like this man was paid by this man that assaulted me, because even when this man would he would drive through my street, like obviously try to intimidate me, and even if I would go to the police station to report, nothing would be done, right? So I then went to the hospital, the town hospital, right after the incident. After I reported the case at the police station, my sister drove me to the hospital. When I got there, we were like I think the third on the line. We were waiting for 2 people to go in, and way before that, in walks this person. This is the very same man who assaulted me, physically assaulted
So
me.
he arrived behind.
He arrived behind me, but entered first.
No.
Yeah. And bear in mind that this man is a nurse, right? He's a professional
So he knows
nurse.
this professional.
So he knows this
was it
professional
the same
doctor.
institution?
Yeah. they work under the same facility, the same institution. So obviously, like now, power dynamic, you know, how power is going to be distributed and how I'm going to be invisibilized within that space. I was erased. Trans erasure is a thing. I was completely erased because the minute I walked in, the minute it was my turn to walk in, this man was frowning. He was disgusted to see me. It was like he just saw trash of another level. It was just like he just saw something that was just indescribable, you know, and I couldn't understand, but I could understand at the same time that because this man walked in way before us, even though he arrived like after us, right? Because he got to this doctor. Hence, the doctor is not even like assigning any form of healthcare to me, right? Instead of the doctor, do you think the doctor treated me? No, he didn't. He was frowning, and then he just took my JD8, looked at it, and gave it to me. And that was when even my sister got into an altercation with him and asking him, like, why are you not treating my sister? This person was assaulted, this person has bruises, and now you're telling me that she's okay. We can see that this person is not okay because even the injuries are proof. I had injuries all over my face, my neck, my body, my thigh, right? This person has injuries, she has sustained injuries, and now you're telling her that she can't. She's not injured enough, right? I had to leave the Swaziland hospital, and this was done to me by a professional doctor, someone who's supposed to be a professional person, right? I then had to leave the hospital, and the following day, I then had to go to Freiburg. Bear in mind, we don't have the money. Bear in mind that we don't have petrol money, right? We don't have the privilege of just waking up one day and just driving straight to Freiburg, right? I had to go to Freiburg Public Hospital, where I was met with a very helpful queer nurse named Sister Katlego. Amazing. Who then she further
Did she cancel you and
she
stuff?
cancelled me
And she take your case seriously?
She took my case so seriously because she even set me down, asked me what happened. I broke down, I cried. She gave me an injection, and right there she started counseling me. She started like asking what happened, how can I show up for you. She gave me painkillers. You know, she literally provided a service that was supposed to be provided from the onset, right? And she then assigned 2 doctors to me. And then it was when the doctor, the first doctor advised that I go see a psychologist because he can tell that what happened to me triggered me. It caused a lot of harm. And then the second doctor came to examine my body, everything. And it was actually discovered that I had more injuries. Then I had to take back the J83. So remember the J83 and its policies and how you have to, like, as a victim, if you've encountered a victim, a hate crime or any form of crime, you need to submit the paper on the same day. So if you don't submit it the same day, you might lose the case. Your case might be dropped or might not even be taken serious. So I even had to fight with the detectives, with the investigating officers to take my case and further take my J83, right? So as I'm fighting this people after they submit my case, I'm now summoned back to the police station, and now this investigating officer is asking me, what did I do? Are we in a relationship with this guy? And I'm like, why must I have to be in a relationship with this guy for me to be taken seriously?
That's when it's acceptable.
Exactly. I go to the court. The court processes was a nightmare. I think I changed over close to 5 lawyers. Legal representatives.
Who were just horrible.
Who were just horrible, transphobic, do not use my preferred name, do not use
so
my
they were
gender
dead naming you.
They were dead naming me. They were utilizing pronouns that are messed up.
No.
So the whole trauma, so literally the whole process, I'm
continued.
And
this is now in places where you're supposed to be protected.
But I'm not.
And now they're pressing even more because at this point you're under conditions.
And bear in mind that if you're a black, unapologetic, fierce trans woman who's from a rural space,
you
who's
anger a lot of people.
You anger a lot of people, and that it means that you're too angry. You're too trans. You're too woman. You're trying too hard. Stay in your lane. And when what lane is that? Exactly what lane is it? Does that lane mean that I must now police my expression? I must now police my body. I must now police my whole existence for you.
For your comfort.
For your comfort, for your masculinity, for your patriarchy, for your body? No, I was not gonna do that.
No.
I get inside the court, it was a mess, a whole lot of mess. Like, I changed 5 lawyers, I spent over 20 grand. My family has lost over 20K of money that they don't even have. And then I was told that I'm the perpetrator. So it was turned, and then my docket went missing. Right as my docket went missing, I was then categorized as the perpetrator. So I'm the one that assaulted this man. I'm the one that turned my car back. You turned, and I'm the one that got off my car and attacked this man. And I was told that when it was time, it was the day for the verdict. I was told.
What happened?
I literally went, can you believe that my case just ended this month? I mean, 2 months back, February. Yeah.
When did this happen again?
2017 November. This ended February 17th at the local court in Swizer. Yeah. So, and it was not free and fair justice. I was still told that it's my fault. I should not do that again. I should never ever do that again.
What were you supposed to not do? I don't understand. What is it that you're...
That is the judiciary. That is the judiciary of South Africa, because it's unfair. It's like it's a facade of an apparent. It's a lie to black trans women. Trans women have so many cases that have gone unreported and unprosecuted, because even the prosecutor himself was extremely transphobic. He hated me. That man could not even stand me. So not only am I fighting the police officer, am I fighting the healthcare system, am I fighting the protection services system, I'm now fighting the judiciary.
Imagine.
That
is a lot of weight.
I'm the victim.
That is a lot of weight.
Yeah.
In South Africa, where the constitution is supposed to represent all and be fair for
Where on
those
earth?
are actually the struggles of trans women.
Yeah. And this is
Those are
nothing
actually
to
struggles of
me.
trans women.
This is
in
nothing.
public health systems, in all these places where we're supposed to be safe and protected, that's not how it goes. So that's the nature of living in a trans body, essentially. Violence on a daily.
Violence that's normalized.
Violence that is normalized.
Yeah. And further, because your body is just an object. You know, your body has no form of worth. You're then treated as
according to them,
right? Because the only thing that you are is gay, right? So you can never be trans. You cannot come up with a different identity.
And gay gonna get insulted.
And gay get insulted in the room. So being gay is seen as a form of it's an insult. It's derogatory. It's a slur. It's a slur. Like I don't see you. I don't recognize you. So even if you try to exist in a space like Northwest, the Free State, you know, you still reminded that your body is ahistorical, apolitical.
Absolutely ridiculous. But that's the end of it for today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Till we see you guys next time again. Bye.